You wake up in the middle of the night and you decide to go drink a cup of water. So you go tiredly to the kitchen and then this. You stepped on a Lego brick. Now we all know how painful this sensation is, but our pain sensitivity varies from a person to a person. For some of us, this will be very painful. For others, happens every other day. But what if I ask you, if you yourself will step on this Lego brick after you just came back from an amazing date or feeling in love, or when you are upset because you had a huge fight with your boyfriend, will then your pain be the same? So the answer is no. Our mood can actually change the way we feel pain. But not only mood, but also attention can change how we feel pain. In stressful attention, when we devote attention to the pain, it can change how we feel it. Like if you go to do a blood test and you focus your attention on the nurse who's taking your blood out, or you distract yourself from the needle, your pain will be different in these situations. But not only attention, but all this stress can change the way you feel pain. In stressful situation, your body is already stressed and aroused, and it can make you feel a stronger pain. But stress and the rush of adrenaline in stressful situation can also decrease our pain. Like those unbelievable stories about soldiers who run in the middle of a fight and then their arm cut off, but they don't feel a thing. But when the fight is over, they feel the most agonizing pain they could imagine. So if all of these factors can affect pain, what is pain? How would you define it? So pain is defined as an unpleasant sensory and emotional experience associated with actual or potential tissue damage. And we can see from this definition that pain is not solely the sensory stimuli that can harm us. It's also an emotional experience. And the emotions are part of the pain itself. And we all feel pain in our daily life when we hit or get bruised, and this pain is actually good, helping us to detect the affected pain area on our body that is hurt and change the cause of this pain. Like if I touch a hot plate, I will move my hand as quickly as possible and I will prevent myself from getting burned. But for some people, this important pain mechanism that helps our health and our body is becoming the problem itself. For those people, the pain system keep being activated, even if the signs of dangers are gone, and even if the tissue is healed. And those people are suffering from chronic pain. Pain that lasts more than 3 months and is experienced almost every day. And pain has a lot of consequences, like depression, fatigue, inability to work, and even disrupt social relationships. And despite the many treatments currently available for pain, not all patients benefit from those treatments or get relief for their pain. But we say that pain is a complex mental perception, right? So what if we can change the way we think or attend pain? Could it actually change the way we feel pain? So this is exactly what I study. I come from the Cognition and Emotion Laboratory, and I study whether we can change the way people attend or think about pain in order to change their pain experience. And there are a lot of ways of doing it, but the most common ways that we focus on are: 1, how much attention do we pay to our pain? Because the amount of attention we pay to our pain can actually change the way we feel it, as we said before. The second way is, how do you think about your pain? Because this can also change how you feel pain. And let me elaborate about this point a little bit more. So imagine that you just have a headache, and it's 5 out of 10 in a pain scale. You can immediately think, I know this pain. It's my migraine again. I will not be able to go out of bed. I will not be able to deal with it. I will not be able to come here and hear all these amazing lectures. No, I can't. And these thoughts can actually change and increase your pain and increase your suffering from this pain. But if you instead think, I have a headache now, It's 5 out of 10 in the pain scale. It's painful, it's painful. Now I can deal with it. I don't know what will happen later, but I can deal with it now. I'll drink a cup of water, maybe it will go away. These thoughts can actually change the way you feel the pain and how how much suffer you from this pain. So can we train participants to change how they attend or think about pain, and can it actually help them feel less pain? Well, it's not so clear, and studies show high inconsistency in the results. So in my study, I used controlled tasks in order to evaluate the ability of each of these methods to change pain. And I used a lot of outcome measures to see what these trainings are doing, how they do it, and whether they can actually change how people feel pain. And for my aim, I currently use healthy participants without any history of chronic pain. But because I first want to evaluate the ability of those trainings to change how we feel pain in the healthy pain system before I try to implement those trainings to people with chronic pain. But now you're gonna ask me, how do you study pain on people who doesn't suffer from pain? So you can probably guess my answer by now. I need to physically make them feel pain. And now you think that my lab looks like that. But no, it's a pretty regular lab, but we have all kinds of interesting devices that I would like to share with you to study pain with. So for my first device, I need a brave volunteer from the audience. Go ahead. So my first device is called an algometer. And with it, I measure when does the pain start. So you can come up, and I will ask you to hold your hand stiff, and I will press on his femur muscle, okay, the muscle of the thumb, and I will ask you to report the first moment that it starts to hurt. Okay, tell me now at the first moment you feel pain. Okay, so hold your hand stiff. Okay, so I did it multiple times. Okay, you ready? Okay, so this is your pain threshold, the moment you start feeling pain. Okay, thank you very much. So for my second device, I use a thermode, which is a device that heats up to any temperature I set. And with it, I measure how participants rate various heat temperatures. So I ask participants when they feel the heat at a specific moment to tell me how painful it is, from 0, not painful at all, to 100, maximum pain they can imagine. And with it, I can measure various temperatures and to see how they rate them. And my last device is a cold water tank. And with it, I measure how long participants can tolerate pain. So I ask participants to put their hand in icy water and tell them to tell me now, at the first moment it starts to hurt, and leave it until they cannot tolerate it anymore. So I can see how long they're willing to tolerate pain. And in my experimental procedures, I have 2 sessions, 1 month apart. So participants are starting with a baseline pain assessment in each one of the sessions, using all of the devices I just showed you. Then they're doing an active or a sham control training, meaning they're doing one training that aims to change their pain and one that is only control, not aiming to change any of their pain experience. And they can start with an active one or with a sham training. And they do the second one, they do the second training. So if they started with the active training, they will do in the second session the control one. And if they started with the control, they will do in the second session the active one. And then they have post-training pain assessment to evaluate the immediate effects of the training to change their pain. And also I can evaluate 1 month later what would be the outcomes of the training. And I have some preliminary results that I would like to share with you. So here we can see the heat temperature. Participants rated as severe on the pain scale. And we see both trainings, one attention training and the second is acceptance training. Because I didn't tell you before, but each participant is doing only one training. Either the acceptance, which is how, like, can you change the way you think about pain? and attention. Can you change your attention to pain? And we can see the baseline rating of severe pain in the heat temperatures on the y-axis at the baseline of session 1 before they trained, and on the baseline of session 2 1 month apart. So these are participants, each line represents a participant, and these participants started with an active training and then completed the sham training. And you can see that all participants improved their rating from session 1 to session 2, meaning 1 month later, they needed higher temperature to feel higher temperatures in order to perceive severe pain. Meaning these trainings can actually change how people feel pain. But maybe it's because they're familiar with the pain assessment, right? Because they're doing it in the same assessment twice. So here you can see the sham trainings, participants who started with a control training and then came to the second session. And you can see that most of them did not improve the rating in the second session. So this is the first glimpse of evidence that's showing that these trainings can actually change the way people feel pain. But what the participants are doing in these trainings, I didn't tell you yet. So let me give you a small taste of one of the tools we use in our training that aim to change how people think about pain. So we tell participants to imagine themselves as bus drivers, having a lot of passengers on their bus. And pain is one of them. And we tell our participants, think about your pain as an annoying passenger. And instead of reacting to this passenger and his demands, you can just notice and accept him as he is, because he's going to soon leave your bus. So by training, using a lot of tools and metaphors to help people think differently about their pain and train them to do that, we aim to change how they feel pain. And by thoroughly studying it, I aim to enhance pain therapy one day by implementing those pain trainings in pain therapy. And maybe the next time you go to drink a cup of water at night, remember that you can be your own bus drivers. Thank you so much. So if you have any questions, I'll be able to answer them. Yeah, sure.
Thank you. That was super cool, and I'm happy I didn't volunteer. It looked like, if I read the graph, oh, my name is Dana, I'm from Machshev Israel. It looked like from the graph, if I read it correctly, that attention was more effective than acceptance, or maybe, and that people who have a higher threshold for pain to begin with can implement this even more effectively. Is that true, or am I?
So you can see that there is a lot of variance in the temperature people start with. So this is one of the problems in pain research, and also one of the good things in pain research. But I wouldn't say that in the attention training they benefit more, because you see it's only 3 participants in the attention and only 4 participants in the acceptance. So it's not so clear like the pattern yet. But you can see that there is variance in how much they improve. You can see that in the acceptance trainings, there are 2 people who start from the same point. But they improve, one is improved a lot following the training, and one is improved by 2 degrees, which is a lot, but still there's a variance in how much people benefit from these trainings. And one of the things I want to study and more thoroughly understand is why. I have a lot of baseline measures that I didn't show you, but I take them, like demographic measures and emotional measures that I take, and even heart measures. I take heart measures and examine whether this can change, explain why people benefit more from these trainings. So I hope to answer this question one day. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Nama from the Technion Education. So my question is about what are you drawing on or basing on the trainings, the attention, especially the attention training? I've studied a lot, all kinds. You hear me?
Yeah.
I studied a lot, all kinds of, for example, Buddhist traditions and practices like
Mhm.
meditation, allowing everything to be as it is, so thoughts, emotions, sensations. Is this something that you draw on? In
So the
your
acceptance is basically that. Like acceptance is one part of mindfulness, and we kind of take this acceptance component out of mindfulness and try to help people do that, not in a controlled way, because a lot of patients will be against using mindfulness. They will not want, like, it's too spiritual for them. So by using like kind of computerized task, it's kind of implementing those ways in a way that feels more scientific and more controlled. So this is really mindfulness based, and the attention is based on like literature who said that people with chronic pain have a lot of cognitive biases towards pain. So they will focus their attention really a lot about this pain. They feel the slightest pain, they will focus all their attention there. So we kind of try to break this attention bias towards pain, to try to distract them a little bit from the pain. Like, notice the pain, but not as much as you would when you have severe pain. Sorry for all the noise. Yeah.
Thank you. It was very, very interesting.
Thank you.
Omri from Ben Gurion University. I was wondering if you have any preliminary assumptions about the participants regarding their, I don't know, history or their gender or their anything that's more like cultural, and how they reach. Do you have any like? Do you put any? Is there any significance that you can say that you assume that more people from this background have more tolerance to pain?
So in my study currently, I study only females, because the difference between how male rate pain and how female rate pain is different. Because like they say that women have higher tolerance to pain, but they would more likely to report pain. So to overcome this bias, I kind of study only females right now, and I may study like males, in like separate sample. But I also take a lot of variables, as I said before. Like example, emotional regulation. And I assume that people with, like, I'm not sure actually, because I think maybe that people with good emotion regulation abilities can maybe benefit more from the acceptance training, because they are used to that training and they can easily implement it. But on the other way, people with poor emotional regulation maybe benefit more because they really need those helps. So I'm not sure like which direction to take it, but I have some assumptions about how like people would react to that. But it's a good question, because we have a lot of measures to measure exactly that. So thank you. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm not sure this works actually. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay. Hi, my name is Doron Atias from the Hebrew University. Thank you for a fascinating talk.
Thank you.
Really important subject. I have two questions. The first, do you think pain as a sensory stimuli is special in that sense from other modalities or sensory inputs?
Like vision, you mean?
Or yeah, sensitivities to stimuli that comes from the auditory modality or the visual, and how these interventions may affect this kind of sensitivity. And also, do you consider or look at different types of pain? I mean, not only physical pain, but also other types of pain, and would you predict that it would be the same?
So we don't look at emotional pain. We just only look at pain. Like although some of my participants, when I ask them what is studies measure, they think emotional pain, but no, I measure only like physical pain. Yeah. But as you saw, we have a lot of ways to implement pain. So that's only also a limitation in the previous literature that used only one measure of pain. Like example, the cold water tank or the pressure. And we try to see whether these trainings they change all kind of pain, or it's only limited to what they trained on. So we do use a lot of pain measures, but in terms of other kinds of pain, like emotional one, so no. But regarding your first question, so actually pain is, I believe it's, like, I think it's different because you don't have a specific brain area to evaluate pain. Like pain is, when you see like brain that is under pain, you see the whole brain in fMRI, you see the whole brain lit up. So we don't have like a specific area like vision, that you have like a specific area in the brain that like interprets vision and then send it the signals to other parts of the brain. So pain is unique, and because it's unique and it's processed by many brain regions, we think that those trainings can actually change it. Because the attention, the areas that are related to attention do incorporate and in signal, in like evaluating pain and the processing of pain, and also like emotional motivation, which is kind of the acceptance training. So I do believe that those trainings are count on that fact. But it's a great question.
Einav, we have 2 more questions and 1 more minute. So I'm going to let both Hagit and Zohar ask and then reply briefly to both of them, okay?
Great. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for this very interesting talk.
I can hear you, but I don't know if other people can hear you. Mm-hmm.
So, do you think that people with continuous pain can also use this type of cognitive activities to handle continuous pain?
So I think yes. This is the brief answer, but yeah.
Okay, thank you, Einav.
Okay, so she asked me if these kind of trainings can actually help people with chronic pain or prolonged pain to deal with. Yeah.
Hey, thank you. So you mentioned, so this is like cognitive processes that you study, but you mentioned also like behavioral stuff. So I curious about if you also want to test approach avoidance behavior and how it's affect the perception of pain.
Yeah, so I don't study it directly. I will start with your question and then I move to your. I don't study approach avoidance directly, but the cold pressure task, the water tank task, kind of have a lot of motivation in it, because people can motivately, like if I explain the task differently, people will leave their hand like in different durations. Like if I tell them you must leave your hand in the cold water tank, so this kind of measure is also test approach avoidance, but not directly. So to your answer, no. And I do think that these trainings could help people with prolonged pain to less be like controlled by this pain and do more and work with their environment instead of just be stuck on this pain. Like know that this pain is prolonged and how you can deal with it more effectively. And try to change how you perceive and pay attention to it. So I do think that it could help, and there is some evidence that show that it can actually change. But it's a long way. So thank you so much.
Einav, thank you very much.